All right, guys, welcome to Actualized in this video, in this episode, I'm going to attempt to explain again this video and its purpose, and then go into some notes on becoming a sage, a new vision for actualized.org, and you. I'm going to go over some notes that I took for that video, and then possibly as we go through that add some insights. So here we go. All right, I don't know what I'm doing here. Taking a stab at it. I have some idea how to work a camera. I have some idea how to do some editing and do some fun stuff. If you haven't seen the intro video, please go check that out. It's fun. There I start off by explaining a little bit about what this channel is about, just to give you a little inkling, and I have a little bit of fun with some ideas and comments and things that people leave on Leo's videos and in their forums and things. But Leo, that shows up a lot. So I'm just having some fun with that, just sort of relax a little bit with this idea, because Leo has years. He's very well versed in the art of YouTubery and presents himself in a very intellectual, easy to grasp, not necessarily understand, but easily to grasp way, and really goes deep in some stuff. That's why his videos are so long. So as I'm watching these videos, and I've been watching his videos for a very long time, probably, well, not a very long time. If you're talking the scheme of the universe, it's a twinkle in time. Probably about a year and a half. I was actually trying to look back through and see how far I've come, but just about every week on his journey, I've been sort of following along and going, yeah, this guy gets it. Like, wow, that's a great insight. Like, I was thinking about that and kind of going in one direction, and he sort of reined it in, like, nicely. Like, I've never met anyone that's been able to rein some of these concepts in. And recently, I'm kind of being convicted a little bit by Leo himself. He points out about the action, not just, what's he call it, mentally masturbating with those thoughts and being like, oh yeah, that's great, and then doing nothing with it. I kind of always talk myself into, well, I'm beyond all of that. But I'm not. And I've been sort of realizing that the experience is so important beyond the knowledge. So I get convicted because I'm watching one of his videos. It's entitled How to Contemplate Using a Journal. In that, I listened to the whole thing, right? The whole way through. Did absolutely nothing. But after that video, I'm feeling convicted. So I remembered he was talking about an older video, contemplation, the most important tool for sages. And I was like, well, he's kind of referencing that. Maybe I should go back and watch that one first, and then come back to this one. Actually do a little bit of homework here. While I'm doing that homework, he mentions one that was kind of the starting point, the Becoming a Sage, a new vision for Actualized.org and you. in that video. And so I stopped listening to the contemplation one and said, well, why watch this? Let's go back to the beginning. Let's get into it really deep. I'm so deep now. I'm got myself wrapped up into something here, but I'm not sure what. So I go back to that one. I put them all in my watch later list. I sit down with a piece of paper and I start just, because sometimes they're long. Sorry, Leo, they're long. It's hard to dedicate the time to watch the whole one. I take 15, 20 minutes every morning and just listen to that. You know, I do some other devotional things for myself and my own growth and learning. And I've been adding this into the morning, and I write down, I just take the notes. Like, I don't know where to start. I don't exactly know what to do, but at least I'm doing something. So every main point that he has, I write it down. And what I found was every once in a while, he'd have something that was like, oh, well, I wonder if it's this too. Or what is that he is talking about? So I make a little note, okay, right here. I jot it down. And when I go back, then I see that there's an order here. There's an order of information that's going in my mind and things that I know and understand, and then little tiny tidbits of information that are meant to be expanded then, or are meant as sort of insightfulness added to what Leo is already talking about. So here we go with this. I'm trying to keep this similar but personal. So trying something with some flat backgrounds. You know, I thought, I'm not getting dressed up the first time because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to wear, I just got off of work, actually, to be actualized. I work full time, so I'm just wearing the clothes that I had when I came home, my hat. I'm not dressed in any way. I'm presenting nothing spectacular here. But I kind of am interested to see, as I whittle away the sculpture, what might this turn into if I really can stick with this in the long haul. So, short run. This, I'm going to sit down here with you guys and I'm going to go over some of the notes. The notes are meant for you and for me. The notes are meant for me because it gives me a chance to sort of reiterate some of the things and maybe revisit some of these concepts, constantly be putting it in my mind and thinking about it in that deeper way and really going someplace with it. It's for you because if you've watched one of Leo's videos, the most recent one, which I'll get to eventually, is over 4 hours. Like, working a full-time job and trying to actualize almost sounds impossible then at that point. So when I get to something like that, it's going to be so amazing to take the notes that I have and set it there for you guys. So you can do one of two things with them. You can take that note and you can watch it ahead of time. So Leo posts a video every Sunday-ish. If he posts it, you put it in your watch later. Sometime throughout that week, I'm going to try to give you and present my notes and my thought processes in a short and condensed version. What's nice about that is you sort of get a taste then of what he's talking about. So then you go watch his video and you've already gotten a taste. Now you can be a little more sincere. And at the same time, hopefully I'm encouraging you to write your own notes. Write your own notes about what I might point out plus what he points out, and then add to it what you're thinking. It's going to be magnificent. On the other hand, if you listen to his video and watch it the whole way through, even if you have to do it in chunks throughout the week, put it into action. And afterwards, if you feel way overwhelmed, even if you don't feel overwhelmed, even if you think you got it, look for my video throughout the week. Come and watch that short and condensed version. Get those thoughts and the notes that I've taken, put it back into your mind, into your eyes. Write things down. Call to action here. Write them down and expand it. And this will help just constantly throughout that week put that information into your senses, into your system, even if you've got it. Because if you're leaving notes in Leo's videos and you're in his forums and you're writing things, and then you're leaving the same similar comments or expanded comments down in the comments for these videos, you are going to not only expand your own mind, but you're going to continue to help expand others by constantly adding new thoughts, new expansions, new and interesting detail that might just be missed if it hasn't been brought up to you. So, what I'm going to do now is attempt to go over becoming a sage, a new vision for actualized.org and you. If you have not seen that, go while you're listening to this, or afterwards, maybe even better, put it in your watch later list and check this out. Because if you're searching in life, if you're trying to expand your life, this is an excellent video to just get started. Becoming a sage. What is the best life possible? Think about that in your mind. Just even for a quick moment. Just a quick moment. What is the best life possible that you could imagine? I said a quick moment. Now, take a little bit longer. Even if you have to pause right now. Write down. Here we go. Call to action. Call to action. Write down. Think about what is the best life possible for you. Okay? Does it entail what you are experiencing in life right now? Maybe ask yourself, if it doesn't, why not? What sort of steps can you take to get there? You have to start asking yourself questions. You have to start even oddball questions. As you're listening to Leo, as you're listening to this, as you're watching other channels, as you're hopefully reading books and taking in information, you need to be asking yourself, does this help me have the best life possible? Or is it pointless? If it's pointless, why are you doing it? If you're not serious about actualizing, stop wasting 2 to 4 hours of your life every week listening to Leo, and then another 15 to 20 to a half hour, however it turns out for me, of my thoughts and insights. Stop wasting your time. That's half a work day wasted if you're not actually going to do anything about it. Of course, I want you to take these. I want you to come back. I want you to subscribe. Subscribe now. Get in now. Start getting that thought process rolling. But if you find yourself 3 to 4 videos deep and you're still not really doing anything about it, you're not contemplating, you're not reading books, you're not taking that extra step to maybe take some notes, to journal, to write down your insights, to create a common book. I think he calls it a commonplace book. Man, see, this is why I need to take notes. Then unsubscribe. Quit wasting your time. Stop wasting mine. Stop wasting Leo's. If you're engaging in all of his content and not doing anything about it, what are you doing? Why are you there? I think you're there because you really, down in your heart, you want to. And like me, you need something to push you a little bit. Something that just triggers you. Maybe a little bit of help, like with some notes and a little bit of extra insight. Maybe something a little shorter, a little more palatable. I don't know. Maybe I make it more complicated than he does. I don't know that. I think Leo does an excellent job. Redefining greatness. Sages get the most out of life. You really need to redefine greatness. Like, what is greatness to you? When you're watching that, like, you need to think about that. Our normal mindset of greatness is one thing, but what it really should be, especially if you're going down this path of actualizing, probably needs to be redefined for you. And sages get the most out of life. That's what you're doing here. You're adding to, you're getting the most out of it by looking at someone else's perspective, by taking in all that Leo has and just constantly bringing that in and thinking about whether you agree or maybe disagree. That's part of it too. And actually actualizing, it's important. I sort of feel like I've embodied this without knowing what the parts are. The entire concept of the sage, asking questions, looking deeper into reality, trying to understand truth, and being able to help others is huge. So looking at my life since I was a child, I kind of feel like I embody what Leo's talking about. And I wrote here to contemplate your life until now. See how you fit into this by taking some time, add this to your contemplation list, and contemplate your life until now. And even if it doesn't point towards being a sage, it's still going to bring some profundity to your insight and your own life. So then I'm asking myself the question, is this a sage's journey that I'm seeing? I'm also trying to be aware and be mindful of the ego here. I'm making sure that the ego tends to want to identify something and latch on to that's who I am, and then not taking in anything else. That's what the ego is always trying to do. It's always trying to create and form a pinpoint identity that then excludes everything else. So while I'm thinking about, is this who I am, I'm also trying to be aware of the ego and what's happening. So let me just kind of go through some of the notes now, because you're going to watch his video and you're going to really get some in-depth stuff here. So I don't feel like I really need to go into it. I'm just going to touch on it so that the thought's already kind of in your mind. So add to documentation of becoming. As you're journaling, as you're taking notes, add to it. Add documentation. If you think you're like, oh, I think I wrote about this last week, go back to it and add to it. Quality of self-mastery is important. He points this out. Parts are there, but a mess in the beginning. Moving towards organizing. Sort of organizing your ego, moving towards a mixed understanding. So the parts are there, but a mess in the beginning. That goes back to what I have. I've always sort of felt like I'd embodied it. So I'm kind of like, I feel like the parts of what a sage is supposed to be, of what it's like to really understand how to formulate thoughts and processes, systems thinking, and help others with that is sort of there, but it's all jumbled, and I'm trying to put the pieces together. So that's the point of actualizing. Enjoy life as is, ... dot. Just continue that thought. Just open end that. Commitment to truth. He talks about what a sage does. So there's a commitment to truth, a commitment to consciousness work, a commitment to goodness, and I tend to want to put this one at the top, a commitment to love. Really important. Deep mastery of them, embodied effortlessly, is important. I kind of pointed that towards radical transformation. I think he sort of mentions this in a way, and I was kind of thinking it, and then rewatching and going back a little bit and rewatching again. I was like, oh yeah, I get that. I pictured it like a rock in a raging river. I would love to be able to embody that. I feel like I'm so close to being able to, no matter what life throws at me, no matter how life tends to roll, I just let it wash over me and kind of roll with it a little bit. He talks about what a modern sage is. Talks about it as Eastern non-duality versus a Western Greek philosopher, sort of a dash of a scientist in there and a little bit of artistic idealism maybe. It's hard to wrap your head around. So there's that thought. Go watch the video and you'll see what happens. He goes into that a little bit deeper. What a sage is not. This is important. We always talk about what this is, who I am, who am I not, is maybe just as profound or even more profound. A sage is not a cold, smart aleck, intellectual, or academic. Is not all knowledge and no action. He really goes into that, and I think this channel, this video here is a testimony to taking the knowledge and doing something with it. Maybe it doesn't come out perfect. It doesn't look, as perfect and clean. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to start somewhere and grow and form and actualize. Strong vision is more important than the how. He really hammers on this. Contemplate why. Because it's so important to understand the vision. He's going to give you that. Commit to it. Get after it. He says commit to it. I add get after it. Sometimes you just got to go after stuff. You've got to repeat that in your mind and get motivated towards it. Then he goes into how. I'm just going to touch on this stuff because he goes into it very well, and I can't say it any better than he does. So this is just food for thought, that something might trigger in your mind as you're watching the video. Then look for it in depth. Top value, one of the top values is truth and understanding deeper. You have to choose truth. Radical turning inward. Free from materialism. Purify. I wrote down body, mind, emotions, habits. These are things that you need to work on purifying. Embody deep insights. 10,000 hour rule. 10,000 hours, rather. It's a lot. But you got to start somewhere. So start with 1 hour. Let's get moving. Strong energy body. Strong energy body. You have to work on your energy through actualizing, your mind, your body, your spirit, what you're eating, how you're exercising, how you're meditating. All of these things come into play. Convert outward emotions. Manipulate. You sort of manipulate your outward emotions, but that's sort of harsh word. Transmute them. It's not intellect, but body. Your actual body energy, like your intellect, is sort of separate. I know I kind of tossed that out there as an energy, but he's pointing out that it's separate. Massive theoretical learning. If you're watching Actualized.org, you're getting that. Common knowledge, the application, not just intellect. Well, it comes back to knowledge and action. It's great to have a lot of common knowledge, but if you're never using it, what good is it? Becoming a sage is raising awareness of yourself. Just starting somewhere and moving in your awareness. Meditation, self-inquiry, and contemplation are very important. Who you are. Knowing who you are. Wow. Every single one of these thoughts you could spend hours thinking about. Consciousness, experiments with experience stages, listening to inner self, big picture thinking, systems thinking. I think that may be what he's kind of talking about here, understanding systems thinking. He's got some great videos for that. Indiscriminate love and compassion. It's huge. Again, it's at the end of the list, but maybe that one should be at the beginning. Help others raise their awareness. That's like another step. It's like when you start really moving in through these things, you're going to understand more about how to help others when it's time. That's important. Is being a sage a calling, or is it just a want? If it's a calling, you're gonna move into action. You're gonna take some notes. You're gonna listen to more videos. You're gonna add more time, and you're gonna try to become it. So, not bad for the first go around. I just stopped here at calling or a want and thinking about going through that, going through the sage process. So the last little bit of notes would be the life purpose course. So I have a big question mark there. I've not taken it yet. I feel like maybe at some point I should actually do that. I feel like in this process, part of me is like dive in. The other part of me is like cashola. It's not about the expense. I feel more like it needs to go somewhere in that system. At least for me, it's not that starting point. So I'm on the fence of take it or not. And, leave your comments about that down below. What do you think? Have you taken the course? What did you get out of the course? Would you recommend it? Do you not like the course? I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a starting thought, not really sure where it's going to land. He talks about master yourself at the end here. Master yourself internally and externally. Now I made a little note here because he talks about like illusion or not. What is illusion in your life and what is not illusion? Here we are. Here you are. Illusion or not. Kind of need to think about that. What do you think? Do you think it's crap? Do you think it's crazy? What's going on here? Leo talks about ego grounding and how important that is when contemplating here. Do something or do nothing. I think I kind of pointed this out in the beginning. Get off your butt. Get into action. At least a little step. Maybe it doesn't look as nice, doesn't look as clean, it's not exactly perfect the way you think it should be, but you get moving. Eventually things will start to work themselves out. Start connecting dots. Think about perspective and working through understanding. Reveal the territory, not just write out the map. Leo talks about this a number of times if you've been watching some of his older videos and working through actualizing at actualized.org. He talks about how important it is to reveal the territory and not just write the map. And commit. I mean, that makes sense here. Leo's outlined a plan. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. Have you? He's put out a plan. He's actually said, hey, I can help you with that plan by keep actualizing, by keep watching the videos, by taking notes, by getting involved, by taking action, by taking his life purpose course. Have you? What step are you taking? Have you thought about and actually put down a plan? This is part of my plan. Start creating videos and put out content to get my mind forced to focus on the subjects, to take notes and reinforce some of the big ideas, to come up with my own perspective and my own thoughts and ideas, contemplations, and put them forward to help me, and then outwardly to help out others who maybe just need to draw things in a little bit. Get started, get after it. That's in my notes. I wrote that there more for me, but I think it's going to matter to you. Get started right now. Subscribe to this channel. Go to Leo's channel. Subscribe to his channel at actualized.org. On YouTube, check out his website, actualized.org. Google it, Bing it, whatever you need to do. Go check that out. So here's the end of the video. I feel like it needs something. It's missing something. Needs to be cleaned up. I feel like I went through all of those notes and I wanted to really expand on things. But that's not the purpose here. The purpose here is to just kind of rein in some ideas, some main points. So I'm thinking about, just as I'm doing this video, maybe it's better for me to rein in the notes even more, to hit the main points and then type out the total notes. Maybe post them, see if they'll fit down in the description section. And that way, you guys can actually look through the notes and see the depthness and some of the added points. But really the takeaway here is to either A, prepare you for watching Leo's videos, or to touch on the main points that Leo has afterwards, to reinforce that information into your mind in a more condensed version. Because I don't, the video on Sages is just about an hour long, but here I am only cutting in half. And I feel like notes and touching on main points should be shorter than that. So, here's the start. Here is actualized I. This is me, my ego, trying to not solidify myself in the ego and yet grow into something. Really take all of the pieces, all of the parts that I see in my life that seem to be sage-like oriented, and start to put them in their place and see what that system ends up looking like. Because I feel like there's some real greatness there to open up, some opportunities to help and encourage others in life and in their growth and expansion. I have some dreams for where some of this can go and take us to be able to maybe create a sort of collective, if you will, beyond just engaging in actualized.org, but maybe helping actualized.org go to another level. take it to a new place, a new horizon, expand Leo's thought processes, and help them to not become some sort of stagnant massive YouTube channel that people just watch for entertainment, but few engage in. I know that there's other people with the same perspectives and growth and same thought processes as Leo, as myself, and trying to maybe use this as a tool to bring them together, to start to round us all up, every one of us from around the world, and start to move into something that is actualized beyond actualizing. That's a long-term dream. That feels like maybe farther away, so I have some work to do, which is why we're here. So, next video, we're gonna go into see, I've got notes all over the place now. See, I need to really rein this in. Contemplation, the most important tool for sages. That will be next. Then I'll work into the notes for how to contemplate using a journal. I'm really looking forward to these. I've already watched them through once already, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when I go in and take those notes. Hopefully you're taking notes also, and start touching on some of those big points and expanding what's going on here. At some point, I really want to be able to get into, as he posts videos, really getting action oriented in those weeks, in those moments, and really following along with that actualized process. But I feel like this is what sort of started my thought process and got me into it. So I'm just using this as my homework. This is my homework. You're my homework. There you are. So I'm just gonna end there. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you see improvement in the channel and in these videos as time passes. If you haven't already, subscribe, come back, watch me grow, watch being actualized, actually happening. See what it might even look like, what it shouldn't look like, and help me enjoy this journey by giving me a perspective, by liking this so that others can end up seeing it. I appreciate all of your time. Have a wonderful day.